It is said that there was a wealthy man named Khuzaimah bin Bishr, who generously spent on the poor, the needy, and others. However, time passed, and Khuzaimah became poor and destitute, and none of those he helped in the past, who were not in need, stood by him. Khuzaimah closed the door of his house on himself and his wife in sorrow for what had befallen him. During that time, the island was governed by a ruler named Ikrimah bin al-Fayyad, who knew Khuzaimah bin Bishr and asked about him. He was told, "Khuzaimah has become poor and destitute. He does not have enough to eat, and he has closed his door on himself and his wife." Ikrimah was astonished and said, "Khuzaimah, who gave without fear of poverty, has become poor. And where are those he helped?" As soon as night fell and people slept, the governor, Ikrimah al-Fayyad, went out in disguise, carrying a heavy box on his back, until he reached Khuzaimah's house and knocked on the door. Khuzaimah asked, "Who is it?" Ikrimah replied, "A traveler." Khuzaimah opened the door, and Ikrimah handed him the heavy box, saying, "This is for you." Khuzaimah asked, "Where did this money come from?" Ikrimah replied, "From the wealth of Allah." Khuzaimah asked, "Who are you?" Ikrimah said, "The mender of the generous one's misfortunes." Khuzaimah asked, "I adjure you by Allah to tell me who you are." Ikrimah replied, "The mender of the generous one's misfortunes." Then he quickly left. Khuzaimah said to his wife, "Light us a candle so we can see what the masked man brought." His wife replied, "We don't have any candles or wood to light." Khuzaimah felt the box in the dark until dawn. When he opened it, he found 4,500 dinars, each 1,000 dinars equivalent to 4 kilos and 250 grams of gold. Khuzaimah thanked his Lord, paid off his debts, and improved his situation. When Ikrimah returned home, he found his wife angry. She said to him, "The governor does not go out at this hour except to another wife." He replied, "No, by Allah." She said, "Then tell me where you were." He said, "If I wanted to tell you or anyone, I would not have gone out in disguise at night." She insisted on knowing the matter and did not leave him until he told her the story. He said to her, "Keep it a secret and do not tell anyone." After a while, Khuzaimah went to the Caliph Suleiman bin Abdul Malik. The Caliph asked him, "Where have you been, Khuzaimah? We have not heard from you for a long time." Khuzaimah told him the story. The Caliph said, "And who is the mender of the generous one's misfortunes?" Khuzaimah replied, "I do not know him, and he refused to reveal himself." The Caliph said, "I wish you had known him." Then he ordered more dinars for Khuzaimah and issued an order to dismiss Ikrimah al-Fayyad and appoint Khuzaimah as governor instead. Khuzaimah returned and entered the governor's palace carrying the dismissal decree, and Ikrimah was there to receive him. Khuzaimah handed the dismissal order to Ikrimah. Ikrimah said, "It's all good." Then Khuzaimah said, "I want to hold you accountable for the Muslims' wealth." Ikrimah welcomed that, but Khuzaimah found a shortfall in the funds. Khuzaimah asked, "Where is the money, Ikrimah?" Ikrimah replied, "It's not with me." Khuzaimah said, "Then return it from your own wealth." Ikrimah said, "I don't have any private wealth." Khuzaimah said, "Either the money or imprisonment." So Ikrimah was imprisoned, and heavy chains were placed on his shoulders and back until his body weakened and his color changed. When Ikrimah's wife heard what had happened, she went to Khuzaimah and said, "Khuzaimah, this is not how the mender of the generous one's misfortunes is rewarded." Khuzaimah was startled and said, "Is it Ikrimah? Oh, woe is me! Oh, woe is me!" He rushed to the prison without hearing more and began to remove the chains from Ikrimah with his own hands, weeping. Ikrimah asked, "What happened? Why are you crying?" Khuzaimah replied, "Because of your generosity, patience, and my misdeed. How can I look at your face and the face of my cousin?" Khuzaimah ordered clothing and food for Ikrimah. When Ikrimah regained his strength, Khuzaimah said to him, "Come with me to the Caliph of the Muslims." When the Caliph Suleiman bin Abdul Malik saw them, he said, "What brought you here, Khuzaimah? You are newly appointed as governor." Khuzaimah said, "I brought you the mender of the generous one's misfortunes, and I think you were eager to know him." The Caliph was astonished and said, "Is it Ikrimah? You have embarrassed us with your good deeds and patience, O mender of the generous one's misfortunes." Then he ordered 10,000 dinars for Ikrimah and reinstated him as governor, saying, "If you wish, you can rule together." And they remained governors together until they both passed away.